Are you a business owner that owes payroll taxes and you can't pay the IRS right now? Well, I have some good news and some bad news for you. First of all, the IRS takes payroll tax delinquencies very seriously, and I'll explain to you why in a moment. The IRS is very aggressive when it comes to collecting payroll taxes because they're considered trust funds. These funds are taken away from your employees and then they're supposed to be sent to the IRS. If you don't send them to the IRS, the way the IRS looks at it, it's not your money. You took it away from the employees. The employees get credit for that when they do their tax returns. They get credit for these taxes that the employer took away from them. So first, the bad news. As I told you, the IRS is very aggressive because, as I said, this is not your money. And so the IRS is less workable when it comes to payroll taxes. Also, once you begin negotiating with the IRS and you fall behind again in payroll taxes, they don't even have to notify you. They can just levy your bank account. And unfortunately, this happens periodically when businesses get in trouble. And then more bad news. If you have a business entity like a corporation and the business cannot pay its taxes, even if you shut the business down and dissolve the corporation, the IRS can assess the payroll portion of the taxes owed, not the employer contribution, but the payroll portion that you deducted from the employees. They can assess that against responsible persons, and it's usually the owners and the officers, people who have the decision making as to what creditors get paid. Now, for some good news, if the IRS threatens to levy money out of your business bank account for falling behind on these payroll taxes or even income taxes, you can stop them and file an appeal, and it'll give you 3 or 4 months, sometimes longer, to regroup and to be able to propose a plan that you can work this out so that it doesn't seriously adversely affect your business. You have several rights available. First of all, the Internal Revenue Manual is sort of the manual that the IRS officers use to deal with taxpayers. And if you quote chapter and verse to them, they almost always honor that. Even though it's not law, this is what the IRS uses for their officers to deal with taxpayers. You can also get protection from overly aggressive revenue officers or collection department employees. There's 2 specific appeals that I'd like to talk about. One is we call a CAP appeal, collection appeals procedure. When they threaten a levy or they've already levied you, you can go over the head of the employee you're dealing with and deal with the manager. If the manager doesn't agree with you, you can appeal it, but it all gets resolved pretty quickly, usually within a week. Sometimes you can get money back that's been levied. There's a more formal procedure called the collection due process hearing, that by law they have to stop all collection procedures, and this is where you get an extra 3 or 4 months to regroup and to really understand your finances and propose some kind of settlement. You can also, when you're doing these settlement agreements, and I've done this with several of my clients that are employers, get a cash cushion. You don't have to give up all your money that you have in savings because you have to continue to run your business. If you can justify it, that there are times in your business where you need that cushion, then they'll work with you and let you keep it. The bottom line is, if you owe taxes to the IRS as a business owner, and in particular payroll taxes, it's not time to panic. There are things that you can do. So if this sounds like something that you might be interested in discussing with me, call the number on the screen for a free consultation. And not only that, after that consultation, I'll get on the phone with the IRS and I will give you a free IRS strategy session. I'll find out exactly how much you owe in taxes, what type of taxes they are, whether levies are imminent or the final notice have already been issued, and you'll walk away with a strategy, a preliminary strategy, which can be developed later, and you'll know what you have to do in order to resolve your taxes with the IRS. Call the number and we'll talk soon.